Hello, everyone. Welcome to Iron Man Day. Now, I know what you're thinking, but don't worry. It's just me. It's Paul Hernandez, and I'm here to be your personal Jarvis through our Hall of Armor that we've set up today. Our team has worked tirelessly to bring you multiple products from all of our friends, not just Sideshow, but we've got a lot to get to, so let's get started right now with our very first piece in the Hall of Armor, the Iron Man Mark 7 maquette by Sideshow. Let's just take a second and bask in its beauty. It's got multiple points of light up functions here with an incredible base that's got some translucence for everyone to take in the effect of Tony in this Mark 7 suit going to save New York, because as you all know, this suit did originally appear in the Avengers, the 2012 film. Look at the incredible base and the weathering that we have on this piece. Now, this stands at just over, I believe, over 21 inches tall. It is a massive piece. Personally, one of my favorite suits of all time. So we're gonna keep this Hall of Armor tour moving, but we're gonna stay in the world of statues. We've got some incredible statues here by our good friends over at Iron Studios, but before we take a look at those, let's take a look at the Iron Man stealth suit from the Avengers Assemble line. Now, this is a variant that was released based off the original, that hot rod red and gold that we see in the Avengers Assemble line. I love the stealth suit. I love the idea of Tony sort of switching out all of the weaponry and all of the gadgets to just go completely stealth. Now, when you get yours, it will have a light up function right here in the arc reactor and the repulsors on his hands and the eyes as well. The stealth suit is such an impressive piece. Originally, I believe introduced around Iron Man 152 in the first or second volume, using the Iron Man stealth suit to break into the Heaven's Hand space station. Such a cool piece with such a fun dynamic base that goes with the rest of the Avengers Assemble line. Now, moving on over to the MCU, we have got the Iron Studios 1/10 scale battle diorama piece. This is the Iron Man Mark 85 that we've got here, of course, from Avengers Endgame. Now, I love that the pose that the team over at Iron Studios had done. Like, look at the motion on this particular piece. It's so incredible. We are going to be, little spoilers, we might be taking a look at a 6 scale that looks very similar to this guy. It's the same one. And it is so great to, if you see something like this, you can get posing ideas as well. But Iron Studios did such an incredible job with this base, with all of the weathering that they've got on this piece. I also love the translucence that they've got here on sort of Tony blasting off the ground there. It's so cool. Staying with the Mark 85 and sticking with Tony Stark, we're coming to the scene. This is the I Am Iron Man 1/10 scale battle diorama series, of course, by Iron Studios. And you can see he is just about to say the infamous I Am Iron Man line. And again, like, just the base in and of itself is so incredible, and it really helps the rest of the piece pop. And sort of coming up and seeing all of the weathering that is on the Mark 85 in this 1/10 scale statue, all the way up to, we've got the gauntlet there, where you can see the Infinity Stones. I mean, so impressive. And then, of course, the nice bow that wraps up this whole piece is the wonderful likeliness in that 1/10 scale head sculpt that Iron Studios absolutely nailed. Such a cool piece. Not terrifying, not like the very next piece that we're going to take a look at. This is, again, the 1/10 scale piece. This is the Illusions Iron Man. This is, of course, from Spider-Man Far From Home, when Mysterio is sort of playing some mind games on a young Peter Parker, letting him know that, hey, he let Iron Man down, and if he was better at being Spider-Man, maybe Tony Stark would still be alive, which is something you wouldn't want to tell to anyone, let alone a teenager. So we've got here the battle drone that is just sort of doing all of this madness, really just messing with Peter's mind there. And something that I like to point out to people is we don't normally get a whole lot of green around Iron Man statues or 6 scales. So, I mean, of course, unless it's right next to the Hulk. But this green popping right next to the hot rod red and gold that we've got there is so impressive. I absolutely love it, and such a weird way to have the Iron Man suit reintroduced after the wounds were still fresh after Endgame. Now again, bouncing back to Endgame, really we're going to get to the person who really keeps Tony grounded and afloat. We're talking about Virginia Pepper Potts. That's right, her name is Virginia. I don't know if you guys knew that, but her name is Virginia. We've got her in the Mark 49, the rescue suit here. And again, another dynamic pose that Iron Studios has absolutely nailed, with showing her sort of taking off there in the suit, very similar to the Mark 85 that we just took a look at. And I do love that this also comes with an alternative head sculpt where you can see the likeliness of Gwyneth Paltrow, who plays Virginia Pepper Potts in the MCU. Such an incredible piece. And also, I just love the blue. I love any time Iron Man suits are drastically different colors, because it just shows how cool the design is, that it can be in any color and still look absolutely rad. So now, talking about some suits that need no introduction, let's move on over to an absolute massive piece here. We have got the Hulkbuster 6-scale deluxe piece by Hot Toys, with the Mark 43 bust that fits inside there, that does come with the deluxe version. Now this, of course, and we've got Veronica here, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark having to launch the Hulkbuster suit from orbit to protect everyone from the Hulk in Avengers Age of Ultron. The team did such a great job of actually putting this on a spinning base, so we can see some more of this. If you guys have never seen this piece, it is so rad, and we've got so many different points of articulation and of course light up functions, but look at all the weathering that goes on in this piece all across this 6-scale. I mean, look at the back of this. These all light up. These light up in there. Of course, these light up down here. And I just love that you can see the many intricacies that this Iron Man suit, the Hulkbuster, it needs. Like, it needs to be this intricate, this dynamic, to be able to fight, to even have a shot at someone like the Hulk. And again, sort of moving it back along here, you can see that the weathering and all of the detail and the scratching carries on over. And I like to think that this is before he fights the Hulk, and these are all from just, testing the suit in and of itself. Seriously, such a cool piece. And again, this is the deluxe version, and it comes with the removable Mark 43 there. Now, if you happen to also have the Mark 43 6-scale, the full version of that, that will fit in here as well. We'll take a look at the Mark 43 a little bit later, but this is the bust that it comes with, and you can sort of have it right before he suits up there in Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, everyone, we're going to move on to another stop on our Hall of Armor tour, a piece that I think is so impressive, mostly because this is the first time I've ever gotten the pleasure of seeing it. We have got the Iron Man Mark III quarter scale by Hot Toys. Seriously, seeing a quarter scale in person in the Iron Man armor is so imposing and so impressive that I'm glad that I get to see it here. And look at the likeliness. We'll start up here with RDJ, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. himself. And again, the weathering that we see in Iron Man 3. I also do love that this particular suit is the first time that we get the classic, let's throw on some hot rod red and gold onto here. That's the first time that we really do get to see that, being only the Mark III, because previously the Mark II was all silver. It's right there. That's the silver one. It's right there. That's what it used to look like, and now it looks like this. It's an absolute incredible piece. And of course, so many points of articulation as well, and it lights up at the arc reactors, the places where an Iron Man piece should light up, it does. We've got so many little intricacies down here showing different weaponry that Tony has, and I do love, because this is an earlier mark of the suit, we don't see any of those alternative arc reactors that we've got here. So again, moving sort of through this piece, we have to call attention to the base. This is one of the most impressive bases on an Iron Man piece that I've ever seen. We've got the Warmonger arm here with the light up arc reactor. The base here also lights up so that, if the lights are off in your particular display and you light that up, it's going to just make this Iron Man Mark III pop. And it being a quarter scale, the base obviously fits that so well. It is so impressive. Now, a little fun fact that I didn't know: when Hot Toys originally did their very first Iron Man armor. It was the Iron Man Mark III. So this is sort of a 10-year homage to what they had done with the Iron Man Mark III in the 6 scale version, being the quarter scale, basically just flexing their muscle, showing exactly how awesome they are with the Iron Man Mark III armor, again by Hot Toys. Such an incredible piece. Look at the likeliness there with RDJ, and you can actually move this down if you were so inclined and switch them to battle mode, as I like to say. You can see all the various weathering from him testing it with Jarvis. Again, the quarter scale version of this piece is so impressive, so beautiful. Seriously, I'm glad I get to see it here for the first time. All right, everyone, and our next stop on the Hall of Armor tour is an incredible display by our good friends over at Hot Toys. But before we get into the 6 scale figures, we have got some incredible gauntlets that we've just got to take a look at. Of course, over here, we have got the 1-for-1 scale nano gauntlet that Tony Stark wore in, the scene at the end of Endgame here. And then directly over, we have got the 1-for-1 nano gauntlet, the Hulk version that the Hulk wore. He stepped up because he technically, because of the gamma radiation, he does heal, and he can probably, maybe, take whatever the nano gauntlet and the Infinity Stones deal out to him. And I do love also the multiple light up functions that we have here. The nano gauntlet over there has got the static light up function, which is one of 2 light up functions. And then the Hulk nano gauntlet here has more of a breathing effect on the lights. It almost seems like the Infinity Stones themselves are breathing and are coming to life here. Now, if you are like me and you don't have the room for these incredible gauntlets, no PIM particles needed. We do have the 1/4 scale nano gauntlet. And again, I do love that these fingers here do articulate as well. It's such there's so much incredible detail on this piece and such a space saver if you've only got a tiny bit of room, to let your geek side show. And I absolutely love that this also comes with the same 2 light up functions, that sort of pulsating, that breathing effect, and the static light up feature. And of course, you can always leave the lights out. Now moving on to the man himself, Mr. Tony Stark here. We've got the Avengers team suit that you're all seeing right now. Look at the likeliness there to Robert Downey Jr. behind that glass panel. This is, of course, the suit most notably worn during during the scene in Avengers Endgame where they're just about ready to jump into the quantum realm. I absolutely love this suit, but my favorite part is the Mark L sort of tattered head base piece that we get here to sort of remind Tony of his loss on Titan and let him know where he's been and hopefully guide him to where he's going. But most importantly, this is the piece that he gives that sort of video message to Pepper with. So if you'd like to see a cleaner version of that, look no further than right over there. We've got the Iron Man Mark L 6 scale figure, of course, by Hot Toys. Again, one of the most popular suits and designs that Hot Toys has ever done, that the MCU has ever shown us. And look how incredibly dynamic this base allows the Iron Man Mark L to get into. I absolutely love it. We've got, of course, various parts of him lit up right now. I mean, 30 points of articulation and so many light up points that even Doctor Strange couldn't count. It's incredible. Now, if the cannon here is, it's not really helping you in your fight against Thanos, Hot Toys has included the 6 scale Mark L accessory set as seen right here with various things. We've got, of course, the nano shield, the foot locks, the repulsor here where, if you got to really bolt, this is the thing to use. And of course, various weaponry, different types of sword that he has in order to fight Thanos. And this is, of course, what we see in that pivotal scene where he's fighting Thanos on Titan. Moving over to a more relaxed suit that Tony has, we've got the Mark 47. Look at that RDJ head sculpt with those glasses. It is incredible, and the dynamic accessories that come with its own little a little base attachment. It's so cool. I absolutely love this. This is, of course, the suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. If you're nothing without the suit, you don't deserve to wear it. If you really cared, you would be here right now. And then he shocked all of us. Such an incredible suit. I also love the idea that this is the first suit that we see. Really, I believe that it's sort of got that autopilot sentry mode. I do love all of the silver that Tony left in the particular suit. And again, expertly done. Look at the arc. I always love the arc reactors and how they light up. Seriously, the Mark 47, such a brilliant suit. Again, that is from Spider-Man Homecoming by Hot Toys there. Now, in your fight against Thanos, maybe not the first time, but doing a double take, we have got the Mark 85 as seen in Avengers Endgame. This is the suit that is worn in the very final battle against Thanos right there at the Avengers campus. Well, at what was the Avengers campus that we see. Look at how incredible this piece is. He's got his nano lightning rods back there. I love this piece so much. And again, expertly done, die cast, and so many small parts of weathering that, again, just the attention to detail on all of these pieces, you'll hear us say it, is wonderful. I mean, seriously, it's so great. Again, you'll get the arc reactor, the eyes, the hand repulsors to light up. It's such a cool piece. And then various pieces around here on the abdomen, on the hip. Now, in world of the MCU, what those are smaller arc reactors. If Tony ever needs to divert power to a particular part, he can do so to those smaller arc reactors around his body. Such a great suit, especially with all of the intricacies of the red and the gold there. Now, moving on to a suit that would make Smaug himself blush, we have got the Mark 21. This is the Midas suit, of course, by Hot Toys. This is such a cool piece. Now, this is so fun to have right in front of us because we didn't really get to see too much of this particular piece. We really only got to see it at the end of Iron Man 3 during the House Party Protocol. But Hot Toys, of course, as they do with everything, expertly brought it to life, brought it to your shelf. With the Iron Man Mark 21. Seriously, it is such a cool piece. And I do love all of the silver sort of accent that is on this, so it's not so much gold. Gold is expensive, everyone, even for Tony Stark. He's not Wakanda rich, but, even gold is expensive for Mr. Tony Stark there. So now moving right along here to, I'm just going to say it, my favorite suit. It is the Iron Man Mark 7 suit from The Avengers. That is the 2012 film. Now, this particular suit is a bit of an outlier for a few reasons. Not only on the side of Hot Toys and what they did with it, but this is also one of the first suits that Tony has that he really sort of plays with the idea of suiting up remotely. And of course, we see the scene where Loki pushes Tony off the building, and that the suit kind of goes into pod mode, chases him, and he's ultimately caught by the suit that is still technically a prototype. Now, the reason I bring that up is because you can recreate that pod scene with the Iron Man Mark 7. You can, very carefully, switch your Iron Man Mark 7 when you get it into pod mode. And that is the mode that it's the suit chasing Tony down the Avengers Tower. Again, when you get it, seriously, we challenge you to do that. It is such a cool pose. We love it so much. And again, I love it so much personally. Again, one of my favorite suits. That's the Mark 7 Iron Man there. Now, we've got another stop on our Hall of Armor. Now, these are some of the more interesting suits, I'd say, that is in Tony's arsenal, because they are just so expertly done, by our good friends over at Hot Toys and what they're doing. Again, we'd said how they had experimented with that Mark 7 and that pod mode. Now here's something that they had done that was brand new, shown during the 2020 Summer Showcase. This is the Iron Man Mark IV holographic edition. Now this suit, the Mark IV, of course, is from Iron Man 2, but this was just released in 2020, again, during their Summer Showcase. Now, the translucence that you see in all the armor is to show you guys all of the many, many intricacies that go into making an Iron Man 6 scale. Now, this is a mixture. It does have some die cast and plastic, so you still do get that Iron Man weight with this piece, but it's an inside look into the inner machinations of what makes an Iron Man 6 scale. You can see when you get your own, you can see some of the lighting effects here, some of the effects here on the leg as well, and you can see all of the wonderful translucence on this piece as well. Again, this piece, even in its translucence, if you will, still got 30 points of articulation if you really want to get him in that superhero landing that I know you all love so much. Now, talking about people that Tony loves so much, we're going to move over to his good friend. I'm going to say my good friend because he's not here to, rebuttal that. Mr. Peter Parker. We have got the Iron Spider armor. Now, this is from Marvel's Spider-Man video game. This is such a beautiful suit, and a suit that I really grinded on that game to get because it is so cool. It is such an awesome suit, and personally I loved this suit and its representation in the Marvel Comics, the Civil War event that had happened. And of course, it's kind of hard to ignore, he's got 3 of those tentacles there to sort of help him get into more dynamic poses when you wanted to pose him. Now, actually called Waldos in the comics, because when Tony Stark built this for him, he not only wanted to know what Peter Parker was doing, but he wanted Peter Parker to know what's around every corner, who's behind him. And so these are called Waldos, as in where's Waldo? Because, if Tony is anything, he is witty. And I absolutely love just the various shades of red and gold, and still very reminiscent. It looks like an Iron Man armor, but with that classic Spider-Man logo there. Now, moving back on over to Mr. Tony Stark himself, we have got the Mark 43 6 scale from Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, yes, if you have been playing along at home, you did very briefly see this half of him in the 6 scale Hulkbuster Deluxe figure that we took a look at a little bit earlier. But now this is the full 6 scale version, again with an incredible dynamic base. So now this is a movable piece here that you can pose that as you like with this piece. And I love, again, the pose that our team got Tony in here. Seriously, it's so cool. All of the various weathering effects. Now, something that I find incredibly fun with this piece is if you happen to have that 6 scale deluxe Hulkbuster, you can get this 6 scale that we're looking at here, the entire 6 scale, into that Hulkbuster Deluxe figure. Now, be very careful when doing it, but it is possible. Again, this is the Mark 43 Iron Man piece there. It's such a cool piece. Again, one of the more understated armors that he does have. But taking a look here at Ultron, what is Tony but nothing? Tony's nothing, honestly, without his villains. Moving on over to one of the coolest villains with one of the coolest designs here. We've got the Whiplash 6 scale from Iron Man 2. Look at the incredible likeliness that we've got there to Mickey Rourke. Ivan Vanko, as he's known, not just Whiplash, with these incredible whips that he has here. Now, these are posable as well, and I love all of the, the machinery, that, sort of brace style look that we've got here. I love the attention to detail on the particular piece right here, because this is that cloth that you can technically pose however you want. I mean, again, let's not forget how incredible this Mickey Rourke head sculpt looks like. It's seriously, it is so well done. And that, it's weird, honestly, to see someone, when you think about it, with the arc reactor on him that is not Tony Stark. But someone that is worthy of having the arc reactor on his chest is Mr. James Rhodes over here. We're going to take a look at the Neon Tech War Machine. Now, this particular suit, this particular mark of the War Machine is from Iron Man 2, but this is the 3rd installment in the Neon Tech series by Hot Toys. I mean, the fluorescent coloring that they get with this particular figure, it's imposing enough, but to add that level of sleekness and just the creativity and design that goes into this particular figure is incredible. I love also just the magazine that you get here on the Neon Tech War Machine. I mean, it's just such an imposing piece and hard to ignore. We've got James Rhodes right here in his technically Mark VI War Machine armor from Avengers Endgame. Now, this is the suit that is worn in a majority of Avengers Endgame. There are flashes of him wearing this particular suit in Civil War as well, but it is most notably seen in Avengers Endgame. And if you ever need to know which version of War Machine it is, it's right there. Look at it. It's right there on the leg. And we've got so many cool spots where this does light up. Of course, we've got the arc reactor, the hands light up, the eyes light up. He's got cool little light up functions right there on the arm. And I just love, if there's one thing that I've mentioned previously, is I love the weight and the, how imposing some of these figures are. Seriously, this War Machine piece it's got a really nice weight to it. And, adding with that, literally the coolness of that diecast, seriously, it's a must have. It's so cool. And I just absolutely love the sleekness of like that gray and that black on this particular version of War Machine. We would be remiss to say that we weren't ignoring him up there. We have got right here the Iron Man comics version 6 scale here from the Hot Toys, the Origins collection. Now, this is personally probably one of my favorite versions of old Shellhead here. He is absolutely wonderful. Now, when Tony was originally sort of introduced in the 1960s by Stan Lee and such, he had always been this dynamic, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist, and that has always sort of stayed true there. I do love also the inclusion of what they are calling the crystal armor that they've got here, and it makes it look so like holographic and sort of hologram-esque in a way that Tony does like to sort of have his armors in. It's got sort of like a protection shield around vital organs that he's got there. Now, this particular piece, again, made of die cast and this crystal armor that we see here, multiple head sculpts for this piece. But I mean, honestly, for me, the star of this new 6 scale is the incredible base. You get a real insight into Tony's workshop and what he just does on a day-to-day basis, holding one of the alternative head sculpts there, actually. We've got these gantries down here as well that are posable as well. So, and we've got an assortment of different maybe prototypes that Tony has for his different armors. And of course, you're in his workshop here. And you can actually see when you get your comics version of this Iron Man 6 scale, there are very light schematics on the clear parts here that you can see. It's so cool. It's absolutely beautiful. And then what we're looking at here actually is what the deluxe version comes with, I'm sorry. And it is a classic Iron Man briefcase that has got really all of the makings and everything that you need to be Tony Stark and Iron Man is in this briefcase here. Seriously, it's such a pleasure to be looking at that particular piece. Hope you guys enjoyed this particular stop on our Hall of Armor tour, but we've got one last stop for all of you. Right here, for the very first time, we have got the Iron Man Mark V Tony Stark suit up version. This is an incredible deluxe figure by Hot Toys. I mean, look at the incredible head sculpt that we've got for Tony there, and look at all. I mean, you can see and hear Tony suiting up on the racetrack in Monaco. This is so expertly done. And the one thing that I do love is the pop of his Team Stark racing suit against that Mark V that we see there. Now, the deluxe version does come with a red and silver, of course, suitcase that you can recreate the suit up scene. You can recreate that with Tony here, and I do absolutely, again, I cannot say enough how wonderful and how intricate this piece is. Now, if you're braver than me, you can do what you will, because this does have 30 points of articulation, and you can actually leave Tony outside of the Mark V. You can have Tony just in the Team Stark racing suit there that we see. But this is a piece that once I've got him in a pose, I mean, very similar to this. Again, our team doing an incredible job of posing. Once I've got him in a pose like this, I'm probably leaving him to sort of look after all of my other racetracks. But the Mark V being such a popular and such a fan favorite suit, I'm just so grateful to be able to see it here in person and tell you all it is incredible, and I cannot wait until you all have this on your shelves and you can look at it yourself. Well, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed our incredible Hall of Armor tour today. I am so grateful to have been able to walk you through this as your personal Jarvis. I'm really excited again for you guys to see the Iron Man Mark V suit up here in person. But thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your Iron Man day. I gotta head out and go get myself an actual cheeseburger somewhere. I'm starving. So thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. And as always, don't forget to let your geek side show. All right, I need a room temperature water, anything.